Hello, my beautiful people. Welcome to the next in the sign, all about the signs series. Today is all about Taurus, as you can see. Thank you so much for your patience, and I truly hope that you get something out of these and you find them fun and informative. Like I said before, you know, the reason I call these the lessons and the blessings is we all beat ourselves up enough in life. So if you get somebody come along on YouTube that's like, oh well, you know, you've got positive traits and negative traits. Firstly, it's a dualism and it's actually quite divisive in its nature. And second, you don't get anything out of that from me saying to you, you've got negative traits. These are things about you that are bad. We all internalize so much every single day in this modern world. I refuse to be a part of that for anybody. I want to build people up. I want to inform them and educate them and dispel some of the myths. So I call them your blessings because these are traits that are, when they're expressed to their highest potential, when a sign is expressing itself to its highest potential, its blessings is what it can give to itself and to the world at large. Your lessons are things that you need to learn to transcend. They're things that you need to learn to assimilate or keep an eye on or keep a hold of so that you don't go down specific or certain paths. And that's why I call them the lessons and the blessings, because you always have both, right? That is the whole point and game of life, unfortunately. So we're talking about Taurus, all about Taurus. And as far as I'm concerned, I just have to throw this in there because I say it to everyone. When I think of Taurus, I think of the epitome of Earth. Taurus is the fixed Earth sign. So as I mentioned before in the Triplicity series, if you haven't seen it, go and check it out. Basically, a fixed sign is something that sustains a season. You'll find it in the middle of the season. It's the month that represents the middle of a season. And for that reason, they call it fixed. And when you think about the word fixed, you think of things that are rigid, things that are structured, things that are solid, things that are immovable. And for me, that's why when you think about Taurus, which is represented, so this is the glyph for Taurus, which represents a bull. And it represents the sign of Taurus, which is fixed Earth. And like I said, these are seasons that sustain, these are signs that sustain a season. So you'll find Taurus bang smack in the middle of spring, you know, when you really start to see life, where you start to see, and I'll talk about that in just a second. Taurus is ruled by, and this is the glyph for Venus. Venus rules Taurus. And that's one of the reasons that Taurus likes good food, good wine, opulent things, finds beauty in the material world. And I want to talk about that connection as well, because you know, some people say, oh wow, you know, the Taurians are just materialistic, and actually there's so much more to it than that, and it's actually really beautiful in its expression. So as I talked about, and I will continue to reiterate this point, each sign that you see in the zodiac is a direct response to the sign that came before it. So you had Aries, which is all about, you know, that burst of energy, and it wants to be at the forefront, and it's like Speedy Gonzales, just straight out of the gate, like, yeah, let's do this. Taurus rules the second house. And we'll go into that when I do the houses series. So I'm going to do the signs separately, and then I'll do the houses as well. So Taurus is all about taking things slower. It's about slowing down. Aries will accomplish its goal by absolutely being, you know, resolute and going for it. Taurus will do it slowly but steady, but make sure that it's completed. And that's this whole idea of fixed, rigid, structured, slow moving. When you think about the Earth as well, it's a slow moving element. Earth is warm and moist. It's growthful, you know, but it's very, very slow moving in relation to other elements and modes. And so when I think of fixed Earth, I really do think of like the epitome of what Earth is. You're talking about rocks and mountains and, you know, trees that are really grand, that stand against the test of time. And Taurus ruling being ruled by Venus, gives it a beautiful outlook and seeks expression to gather and gain and experience life through the external world. That's very important for a Taurus. So when we're talking about, in terms of its physical attribute as well, so people with a well-placed Venus, I won't go too much into this stuff, tend to have great voices, like for singing or speaking. I don't know why I did that, ignore me. They have really great voices, or if people have an ascendant Taurus especially, they tend to have quite a defined jaw, especially in the male Taurians, or they'll have like really beautiful or nice looking necks, because Taurus rules that part of the body in the physical self. So I got your blessings and your lessons here. So what are your blessings? Taurus is very loyal, and that comes from this slow moving, steady move towards things. Once a Taurus is in something and they are aligned with it, they are in it and they are aligned with it. In total stark difference to say Aries, who is, a bit more fickle because they're about starting things and kind of, whatever's next. And if that's too slow, I'll go on to the next thing. Whereas Taurus is very loyal, very faithful. Same thing as the loyalty, but in terms of the faithful, Taurus is about what can and will stand the test of time, and they understand that by putting their energy into something or aligning their energy with something, it will see itself through to completion, and ultimately it will become something tangible. Sensual, so yes, we're talking, it's Venus, love, sex, sensuality, all of that is definitely there. The physical pleasures are things that really excite the Taurian, not just from a sexual or sensual point of view, but from the five sense reality. Food, fabrics, opulent clothing, really things in the material world that are considered high quality. Venus loves high quality stuff, and Taurus is that type of Taurus is that kind of expression, rather. So sensual, feeling, tactile. They love massage, very tactile beings, very connected to the earth itself as well. Even if that doesn't necessarily mean that you're a gardener or somebody that has a green thumb, but you will like natural places or seek to live in a place that is aligned with or around natural beauty. It's quite important to them. Slow moving. So, how can being slow moving be a blessing? If you're slow moving and you're slow and you're methodical in your approach to things, you tend not to miss a trick. And that's one of the things with Taurus. They don't miss much. They might not necessarily speak on it, but they definitely do not miss much. So slow moving is definitely a blessing. Practical in their nature. You find a lot of people that are woodworkers, gardeners, carpenters, massage therapists, energy workers, lots of, because it's all about practicality. And when it comes to practicality, they have a really good head for common sense, to be honest with you. They have a real sense of, right, okay, is this a smart move? Is it not a smart move? What are the consequences likely to be? How is this going to pan out? They really tend to, and this comes from that slow moving nature. They will think through everything in a methodical way. Like, does that make sense? Is that the next logical, practical step? Grounded, they're the epitome of earth, right? Taurus, stubborn. I mean, all of the fixed signs, Leo, Scorpio, Taurus and Aquarius, all of those signs are immensely stubborn. They're fixed, so they can be more stubborn than any other signs of the zodiac. But Taurus, you try getting a ball to do something that you want it to do, not happening. They are immovable when they choose to be, and that in itself is actually a blessing. So when I say grounded, yes, practically minded, but like I said about this common sense, and also very sort of, I'm staying on this point. I'm not moving from here. Steady, again, they will move steadily and relentlessly towards a goal. So in response to the sign that came before it, Taurus will take it slow, but it will still get it done. The tortoise and the hare comes to mind, actually. I think the tortoise in the tortoise and the hare story was a Taurus. I think he was a Taurian. Because that makes total sense to me. He's like, well, you know what, I might not be the fastest, but I'm going to finish the race. And he ended up winning anyway, right? Because he didn't underestimate the power of steadily moving towards a goal. In the now, right? And I love this about them because they're so ever present in the moment. The mind-body connection for Taurians is usually very powerful. They're really aware of how they feel about things on a physical sense. And this tends to give them what I would say is a precognitive ability as opposed to a psychic ability. You know, they're very in touch with their surroundings because they're very in touch with themselves. You know, they're really present in the moment with what is now, with what is here. Finance and money savvy. These guys can spin money from thread. And I mean that, like, they know how to save, they know how to budget, they know how to get their ducks in a row. They are the sort of people that could take, you give them a tenner and they'll come back and say, cheers, here's your tenner, I've just earned myself 100 grand from that tenner. You know, this is somebody that, they tend to be people that are very financially or money savvy, and it's because they seek security. Taurus loves security, and that security comes to them from the external world. That's where they seek their security. So when people say like, oh, you know, they're materialistic and stuff like that, it's more that, I'll talk about that in a minute. And then finally, stable. You know, people can lean on a Taurus. People can really, really lean on a Taurian. If you are going through something difficult, they can be a rock for you. You know, they can be really, really steady. They'll tell you what you're, you know, they'll call you out on all your shit and say to you, look, you know, this is not grounded, practical, smart, common sense, but they will be there with you at the same time. And that's one of the other traits about them that is truly beautiful. So when I say stable, you can lean on them. You can really rely on them. They're very reliable as well. That's another thing. So the lessons, things that they might need to learn to transcend or assimilate or change the energy of. Materialistic. Now, this is what I wanted to talk about. Taurians forge emotional connections to the things that they create from their hard work. Whether that's a house, whether it's a nice car, whether it's money in the bank, whether it's good food, being able to go to nice restaurants, all of that stuff. It's not just about, oh, look at me and look at what I've got. In its positive sense, they are deeply emotionally connected to the outside world, to the external world, and they tend to work very, very hard for everything that they have. So they enjoy the world through materialistic means. A Taurus unchecked or unconscious, when it has kind of gone, you know, a bit awry, materialistic for sure. You know, it's kind of like, well, you know, I've got this, so I'm above you, and you know, it's that kind of energy. Manipulative. You know, this is one of the ones, again, all of the fixed signs in some way, shape or form. But for Taurus, when I say manipulative, this is very much because they can see the outcome already. They, you know, like I said, they're a chess player, Taurus, right? They will think so many moves ahead. If they don't like the way that something's going, they will tend to change tack. And because they're so bloody stubborn, once the mind is made up, they're really not moving. So, you know, manipulative in that way. Greedy is one of the words that I've heard associated with Taurus, and I don't think it's necessarily that. I think it's about the overindulgence, you know, and I've put that here. And it's because, you know, it tends to be kind of like, well, this is mine, you know, I've given you, so I'm going to keep this for myself. This is, you know, mine, me, my precious. Gollum was probably a Taurus. Perfect example, actually. Hoarding. And this comes back to the materials, the wealth. They will tend to get quite panicky if they don't see a certain type of number in the bank, if they haven't got a certain amount of food, or, you know, it's almost like they will hoard things because there's a part of them that's saying, this isn't enough, it's not secure enough. And if it's not secure enough, that's what Taurus is ultimately seeking, security through the material world. And if they don't have that, or they feel they don't have it, they get very, very tetchy. Excessive, you know, and this is the one, excessive and indulgent are the two. They're kind of interlinked because it's kind of like go out with a friend for 3 cocktails and then, you know, trudge home. Probably not. An excessive Taurus we'd go out, get completely obliterated. 3 cocktails is a starter, it's an appetizer, that's ridiculous, I need more. You know, and it's kind of about this non-satisfaction with what they do have. So it's going beyond that. It's kind of like, I won't have a slice of cake, I'll have the whole fucking cake itself. You know, and again, with the indulgence, this comes from liking nice things, liking things of quality, Venus, wanting the best of what they can have. So as an example, you know, well, I could buy these headphones for £20, or I could buy these headphones for £200. These will last longer. It's kind of like they'll find, especially in a negative trait, there's that word again, especially in an unconscious trait, indulgent is probably one of the things that they should look out for. Stubborn, you know, sometimes other people have good ideas. Sometimes other people can help you in a certain situation. Sometimes other people can give you ways to do things that might not necessarily be your way, but they will still get the job done. So, you know, if you find yourself being stubborn, think about that. Inflexible. Feeds into the stubbornness, but it also feeds into the fixed nature of Taurus. So when I say inflexible, it's kind of like, this is it. There's plan A and there's plan A. You know, having some more flexibility on the way that you approach things, or the way that you allow others to tweak plans, if there are any, could be really important for you. You know, don't try and find a way not to isolate other people, or, you know, or shut them out, or even manipulate them into doing what you would like them to do, because it creates resentment over the long haul. And then finally, lazy. Taurus loves its own environment. You know, I just want to be as a bull, Taurus is like, I just want to be in my paddock. You know, I've got my chick over there when I'm ready. I've got, you know, the grass to eat. I've struck my stuff. I'm a bull. Everybody loves me. You know, they call me out when they need me. You know, as a human being, Taurus loves its own environment, its own home, you know, and it will build that security, like I said before, you know, it will build that security around itself. So it's kind of like, well, I don't really need to go anywhere. And that can sometimes, if unchecked or unconscious, lead to a bit of laziness, where it's kind of like, meh, you know, I've got everything I need right here. Why do I need to go to town? Or, you know, why do I need to do that? Or, you know, it's that kind of energy. So when we talk about lazy, you know, that's what I'm talking about. And again, it's a quality of the fixed signs. You know, it's the adverse quality of the fixed signs. So these are some of the things about Taurus. I've got my trusty notes here. I'm just going to go through it and see if I've missed anything. Yeah, investing. They love to invest, and you know, it's not just necessarily about money. It's also about time, about resources. They are happy to invest their time and all kinds of things into something because they can see the end game. As long as they know what they're getting out of it at the end, a Taurus will throw money, time, resources, everything at something, because it's like, I know what's coming at the end of it. So I'm happy to put my time and my energy into it. Stability and security, you know, things that they crave, absolutely. Taste is a really big part of this. You know, and yeah, anything that happens in Taurus has staying power. Really love that. And I'm quite lucky because I've got my midheaven in Taurus. So, you know, I understand how you guys think and what you're heading for and, you know, and what you want. But yeah, taste, touch, smell, especially, you know, is another one really for them. And it's such a powerful one. Your olfactory system is, you know, sometimes a smell can just take you right back to a complete, you know, a memory, and have you be there physically, like, you know, in your mind. It's intense. So this is all about Taurus. I really hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you found it fun. I hope you found it informative. I hope you didn't find the lessons too offensive, and I hope I've done it justice. And also I hope that I've done it sensitively enough for you to realize that you have many good traits and many blessings, and if you work with them, your lessons can become blessings as well. All right, I wish you an abundance of all of that good stuff. Have an amazing time. I'll see you very soon for the next one in the series. Take care.